Hi, Hawthorne kiddos. It's Mrs. Arnold again. I have another story for you, and it's a monster story. The title of the story is Big Lips and Hairy Arms. One cold, windy evening, two monsters sat in front of a crackling fire, slurping tentacle stew and crunching on caterpillar crisps. Thank you for inviting me to dinner, Nelson said. By the way, this stew is disgusting. Thorndyke turned pink with pleasure. I thought you'd like it, he said. Ring, ling, ling. Nelson jumped. What's that? He asked. Thorndyke pulled a sleek black handset out of his pocket. It's my new cell phone, he replied. Thrifty Mart had a big sale. I bought two, one for me and one for my mother for her birthday. When the phone rang again, Thorndyke pulled it out and pulled the antenna and pushed a button. Hello, he said. A deep, raspy voice replied, I have big lips and hairy arms, and I'm only 5 blocks away. Big what? Thorndyke asked. Hairy who? But the caller had hung up. Who was that? Nelson asked. I don't know, Thorndyke replied. The connection was bad, but I'm sure I've heard that voice before. Oh, Nelson said. Then his arm shot out in front of Thorndyke's nose as he pointed across the room. What's that? What? Thorndyke said. Where? I didn't see anything. When he turned back around, his bowl of caterpillar crisps was mysteriously empty. And Nelson's cheeks were so stuffed he looked like he was trying to blow up a balloon. Thorndyke asked Nelson if he wanted to play pin the teeth on the dragon. Nelson's mouth was too full to speak. He just smiled a little and nodded. The dragon had 1 tooth on its tail, 6 in its left nostril, and 3 hanging from its chin when the phone rang again. Hello, Thorndyke answered. And the same deep, raspy voice replied, I have big lips and hairy arms, and I'm only 3 blocks away. A chill went up Thorndyke's spine. Who is this? He demanded. What do you want? But the caller did not reply. A prankster, Thorndyke said to Nelson. Nelson didn't answer. He couldn't. His mouth was full again. Outside, a gust of wind shrieked through the trees. The lights flickered, and the rain broke against the windows like tiny transparent eggs. Thorndyke carried the empty dinner dishes back into the kitchen while Nelson flipped through a copy of Monster Monthly. Then the phone rang again, and Nelson's dog, Dot, started making strange sounds like an old car trying to start. Thorndyke came running out of the kitchen. "What's that noise?" he asked. "It's Dot," Nelson replied. "She's growling." Bling-ling-ling. The phone rang a second time. Thorndyke turned to Nelson. "You answer it," he said. Very slowly, Nelson picked up the phone. He held it to Thorndyke so that he could hear it too. "Hello," he said. And that same deep, raspy voice replied, "I have big lips and hairy arms, and I'm only 1 block away." Then click, the caller hung up. The back of Nelson's neck broke out in goosebumps. "Oh, wow," he said, pointing to his watch. "Look at the time. I better be heading home." "Nelson," Thorndyke said, "if you go home now, I will never, ever, ever make you caterpillar crisps again." Nelson rubbed his stomach. "I don't like them so much anymore," he said. "Nelson," Thorndyke warned. Okay, I'll stay," Nelson said. The phone rang again. Thorndyke took a deep breath. He wiped his brow. He rubbed his sweaty palms on his pant legs. Then he answered the phone. "Hello?" "Is this the Thorndyke P. Finkelmeyer residence?" a voice asked. "Yes," Thorndyke replied. "Good," the deep, raspy voice replied, "because I have big lips and hairy arms, and I'm right across the street." Thorndyke screamed and dropped the phone. Then he rushed to the front door and locked it. Nelson pulled the drapes. Dot started to growl again. "Stop that," Nelson said. Then he noticed that he and Dot were all alone in the living room. "Thorndyke? Thorndyke, where are you?" he cried. A small grunt came from somewhere behind Nelson. He whirled around and saw a long green toe poking out from under the couch. Nelson grabbed it and pulled. Out came Thorndyke. Suddenly, something went bump on the front porch. Thorndyke and Nelson grabbed each other and squeezed. There was a small click. Then the doorknob began to slowly turn. "This can't be happening," Thorndyke whispered. "I locked the door." "Stop squeezing so tight," Nelson whispered back. "I can't breathe." The door burst open and a great ugly monster rushed in. "Want to know what I can do with my big lips and hairy arms?" it asked. Then it grabbed Thorndyke and kissed him with its big lips and hugged him with its hairy arms. "Mother!" Thorndyke exclaimed. "Why didn't you tell me you were coming over?" What? What? Thorndyke's mother asked as she patted the cell phone clipped to her belt. Didn't you get my phone calls? The end. Bye, guys.